My fellow Americans, tonight I am speaking to you because there is a growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border. Every day, Customs and Border Patrol agents encounter thousands of illegal immigrants trying to enter our country.
The crisis, unrest at the border.
We have 8 million people that cross our border, and we're a population of 37,000. And now we have a crisis. Now we have a humanitarian crisis.
This is an issue that we need to deal with as a state, as a country, as a federal government. There is a crisis at the border. It's a humanitarian crisis. It's a security crisis.
They're going to have to cut them loose into our communities all along the border. That's a significant issue that local communities are going to have to face.
I'm KTAR's Peter Seymour, and the goal of this story, to head to Yuma, San Luis, and different parts of the border, was to get to the truth. This is a controversial subject. People have all sorts of opinions about what is happening at the border and how that crisis is impacting us here in Phoenix. We just wanted the truth. Whether you like it or you hate it, we just want to give you the truth so that you know what's happening.
16 feet of metal and barbed wire. These rusted poles are the dividing lines. This is what defines the border. What separates two countries and cultures.
This is a true national emergency that's going on. I think a lot of it, the public really doesn't get to see a lot of what's happening, but for all of us that are down here working in it, living in it every single day, this is a national emergency that needs to be addressed.
I just want to make a living, provide for my employees, a good working environment, and be safe and protect us.
Rick Sellers is a Yuma County farmer who's been farming his land for several generations. He has all the winter produce, the lettuce, the cabbage, and more. And he was telling me that his workers would have to wait 8 hours in line on the Mexico side to get into the U.S. to start their day.
If it takes the wall, then that's what we need. I know my equipment won't pass through the wall. I mean, that's for sure. So for that reason alone, as a farmer and close to the border like that, that's a pretty good deal right there for us. It's not like they come and truck it away. They drive it down to the river and just launch it into the river. They'll drop 12 feet, 15 feet, just like it was not even there. I've tracked them. I know exactly where every one of them goes across and everything. I used to do all that. I find them. I mean, I couldn't go over there and find them, and then I tried to send my employees over there to find them. Oh no, they don't want anything to do with that cartel or anything to do with anything like that.
Our tour guide for the day was Yuma Sector Border Patrol Agent Justin Callinger. No holds bar with this guy. He wanted to help us paint the picture about what the struggles are for Border Patrol agents and all other community leaders and law enforcement. They have no problem putting this story out there because for them it's a cry for help.
We're only 20,000 people all over the United States. That's very small in comparison to a lot of local agencies, such as like New York Police Department, LA, the LA Police Department, things like that. They have 45,000 people for a city. We have 20,000 people for the whole country. I think that in itself shows to how strong each agent that comes to work every day and fulfills the mission that we're supposed to do and does it day in and day out, that they are strong human beings.
Our next stop was the triple fence section of the border. This is by the Sanchez Canal. And while we were sitting there, we heard a call of a body in a canal about a mile away from us. The Border Patrol agents rushed us right over there. We arrive on scene, and we see this woman in the canal. The water was about waist deep, but the current was much faster than we expected. She risked her life simply to get the attention of Border Patrol agents. One of them threw a rope and a disc to her, and she was, of course, afraid to let go of it because she thought she'd be swept downstream.
Agarre el disco. No, agarre el disco. Agarre el disco así, señor. Así. ¿Qué? Véngase para acá. Señora, llega a la escalera. Va a estar resbaloso, síguele. ¿Le quedaron los zapatos? ¿Cómo se queda adentro? ¿Dónde van sus hijos?
So, as you witnessed, it was a stranded female Guatemalan who decided to jump in the canal, and probably no more than 100 yards away from her was a bridge that she could have crossed with where her two children crossed. As you saw, the agent and the person were struggling because it may only be waist deep in certain parts, but the current is very strong. So the agent was able to hold on to the rope and pull her over to the ladder, which then she was able to get out of the water.
The U.S.-Mexico border spans from the Pacific Ocean south of San Diego to the Gulf of Mexico near South Padre Island, Texas. It's nearly 2,000 miles long. It is the most frequently crossed border in the world.
We pull up to the San Luis port of entry and immediately we're greeted by Customs and Border Protection. They welcome us and they tell us, we're here to show you whatever we can to show you the extent of the crisis as it pertains to us. And they were very clear, too, that 99% of the traffic they deal with is legal traffic. These are people who are commuting into the U.S. and then back into Mexico for work and to live.
You're at a port right now that was built in 1985. It's saturated. It's at the point to where even if I had 12 lanes or 14 lanes, I don't have the people to put there. I just simply don't. And if I'm going to continue to process people that are coming in, which is fine, this is what we do, this is our mission. If we're going to process people that are looking for benefits, portable fear, or unaccompanied children, again, we've taken an oath, we're going to do our job. What we try to do is minimize the impact it has on that legitimate travel and trade. It impacts not only the people, it impacts the economy. License plate readers, we have radiation detection monitors, we have a lot of technology out here to help us assist do that mission of anti-drug, anti-weapons of mass destruction. I have seen a tremendous spike. This is what's going on now is you've seen throughout the border. Number of families coming over claiming fear, number of families coming over and looking for economic relief, number of families coming over from credible fear cases and or asylum cases. Yeah, it's all on a spike.
You can tell he felt deflated. You can tell his agents felt deflated because they just didn't have the resources. They didn't feel like Congress was hearing their cries for help to get more people to work with them so that they can, again, keep everything moving, keep U.S. nationals and Mexican nationals happy to be going where they were going. Do drivers tell you or your agents, this is taking too long?
Yes, that's almost a daily thing. And we apologize for it. I'm sorry that, we just can't do it.
The biggest takeaway for me at the port at San Luis was that Director John Schwam had no politics in his message. He simply wants better business in and out of the port.
We are trying to facilitate and do everything we can to protect our nation, enforce the laws, make sure people are safe, whether they're United States citizens or not, here in this country. Make sure that we keep everyone safe, and make sure that we do our job as we've been sworn to do. That's our job. We're not in the political realm. This is not us. We're not either party. We are law enforcement officers hired by the American public to do our job, and that's what we do.
We caught up with Jerry Sanchez, the mayor of San Luis, while he was at his day job. He's a physician's assistant in San Luis, and he tells me this past Christmas was the worst Christmas ever for San Luis because of all the delays at the port, and people couldn't get across the port to do their Christmas shopping. He says if the border crisis continues economically, his city will be devastated because 70% of sales tax comes from people coming from the other side of the border.
Businesses have been closing because they can't sustain. This is busy time. This is where the agriculture workers cross over every day. Thousands of agriculture workers cross every day our port of entry, and they come and they cultivate the lettuce, the broccoli that everyone consumes across our nation. Well, guess what? They're being delayed 2, 3, 4 hours, and the thing is that's affecting everyone. And the thing is because all the attention is delayed, and the thing is we don't have enough port of entries. We don't have enough officers. We don't have processing. The system's broken.
Another man who felt ignored by Congress, Sheriff Leon Wilmot of Yuma County.
So I will tell you, talking with the mayor of Yuma, that he's seriously concerned, as is law enforcement for the city of Yuma. Because number one, there is no place for them to go. Who's going to feed them? Where are they going to sleep? Where are they going to stay between here and wherever their ultimate destination is? Because now, Border Patrol is not going to be the Uber of the cartels, which they have been for a while.
His county spent $1.1 million last fiscal year caring for migrants who became inmates at his jail, and the feds only gave him $56,000 in reimbursements.
So the feds aren't paying their bills now. And now we're looking at another situation where they're going to put more impact on the local communities by doing releasing family units into our communities.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, Governor. Good to see you.
Good to see you as
Thank
well.
you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. I'm shocked at the fact that people are surprised that this crisis exists. We've been able to observe this for some time, and I do try to separate out the humanitarian part of it. My heart certainly breaks for these families that are in dire circumstances, and people that are in need of asylum are one issue, but people that are taking advantage of the way the law is written for people that are not from Mexico, but from countries outside of Mexico or nations that directly border the United States are another issue. And this is where Congress can really act, really be productive, and be part of the solution in this situation.
It's really time for Congress to get off its you-know-what and get to work so we can close some of these loopholes that had good intentions at the time that those rules were made, because they were dealing with Mexican people crossing, and did not anticipate people from Guatemala and Honduras coming in large family units. I mean, that's the law of unintended consequences. So when people, the cartels, they're always looking for a niche, whether it's the drugs or the human trafficking, where we plug up something here, they're going to try to tunnel under, they're going to fly over. They're always, because it's so lucrative for them. So we have to be constantly working on this. We have to be more nimble and how we address it.
When you talk to the agents down there, this was the most interesting line that I got when I was down there a couple weeks ago was, "We are arresting nobody. They are arresting us." He says literally where people used to try to get across the fence and run. And I don't know if you saw that video where the sirens and they're yelling at them not to come. Everybody just keeps coming and they're like, "Hey, I'm here." And that's what they're doing now. They're just literally walking up to the trucks and saying, "Hey, please take me, because I know that you are going to process me, however long that takes, and you are going to release me into America somewhere and hope that I come back."
As more migrants cross the border, legally or illegally, they're going to end up in our communities one day, whether in Yuma County, San Luis, or even Tucson or Phoenix. They're still coming. They still need to be dealt with one way or another. Otherwise, as Sheriff Leon Wilmot in Yuma County said, they're going to end up on his streets or in his jails. That'll continue in all the different communities, and Sheriff Wilmot was clear with us. Again, they all have the solutions collectively to the problem. Yes, they need a border wall. Yes, they need a better port of entry at San Luis and across the entire southern border with Mexico. They need better ports of entry. They need laws changed to tighten up the asylum codes and who can seek it and who can't, and far more other things, because they'll continue to feel the economic devastation and, again, the abandonment if something is not done quickly.
A town unified. A nation divided.
The system is full. Can't take you anymore.
A crisis as complex as it is persistent. This is the story of Arizona's southern border.